ordeal, he personally surveyed and strengthened the sketchy system that connected, albeit erratically, the widely scattered, culturally diverse provinces from Falmouth, Maine to Charleston, South Carolina. He made many improvements, from plotting more efficient routes marked with milestones to speeding up delivery. Round-trip service between Boston and Philadelphia was cut from 6 weeks to 3, and one-way service between Philadelphia and New York City to a mere 33 hours. His colonial post was more efficient, and for the first time, profitable, but it remained a conventional mail service based on Britain's that was primarily designed to advance an imperialistic power's interests, serve a narrow elite, and produce some revenue for the crown. The real importance of Franklin's postal career would have far more to do with the creation of the future United States and its government than with the uniquely American post that would only emerge 2 years after his death. Like his experience as a colonial media mogul, running the fragile communications web that linked the fragmented colonial world had given him an unusually big picture of it, which had inevitably affected his views about its greater potential. Writing of the closely affiliated Iroquois tribes, Franklin wryly observed that it would be a very strange thing if 6 nations of ignorant savages should be capable of forming a scheme for such an union, and be able to execute it in such a manner as that it has subsisted ages and appears indissoluble, and yet that a like union should be impracticable for 10 or a dozen English colonies, to whom it is more necessary and must be more advantageous, and who cannot be supposed to want an equal understanding of their interests. The plan of union that Franklin boldly unveiled at the Albany Congress before the colony's major leaders, including Thomas Hutchinson, the future royal governor of Massachusetts, was an outline for an American quasi-government. He had not yet become the first American, and was not proposing that the colonies should unite in declaring independence from Great Britain. Rather, he asserted that they should join together to deal with important external matters that concerned all of them, including trade as well as defense against the threat from the French and Indians to the west of their seaboard. According to his plan, each colony would elect its own representatives, rather than having them selected by the Crown. These delegates would regularly gather in an assembly, presided over by an executive chosen by Britain to discuss and devise solutions for problems they shared. His wary peers listened, debated, and then, surprisingly, adopted a modified version of his plan for consideration by their colonial assemblies. These jealous provincial bodies recoiled from the idea of such a centralized authority, and the Crown from anything that smacked of colonial independence. Still, the right man had appeared at the right moment to present major politicians of the day with a new political vision. Franklin went on to serve the Crown for 20 more years, and one of his sons would remain a prominent loyalist. Nevertheless, in the winter following the Albany Congress, he spurned a proposal for a colonial union put forward by the Crown's own Board of Trade on the grounds that it enabled Parliament to tax Americans without their consent, a violation of their rights as Englishmen, and without even allowing them to pick their own representatives, as his plan of union had. Madison later cited Franklin's correspondence with Massachusetts colonial governor William Shirley on this subject, observing that the prescient argument made in his letters repelled with the greatest possible force the Crown's authority over America, and did so within the compass of a nutshell. Just a month before the Albany Congress, Franklin's Pennsylvania Gazette had debuted America's first political cartoon. The simple drawing showed a snake that had been cut up into pieces, signifying the colonies, and the caption read, "Join or Die." The immediate reference reflected Franklin's concern over the need for the English provinces to unite against the French in the looming colonial wars. On a subtler level, however, the sketch invited a provocative question. Why stop there? Within a generation, Franklin and the Post would be at the center of a revolution. An appreciation of the Post's foundational role in the creation of the United States requires a little knowledge of the systems that preceded it. The term comes from positus, Latin for position or station, and a postal system carries information from one place to another, preferably with dispatch. Post haste first appeared as an instruction on the cover or outside of a letter, but soon